G'day everyone, and welcome to the start of another video as we continue our way down the west coast of Western Australia. Coming up in this video, we enjoy a couple of free camps. As well as that, we go into Derby and we have a look at the very high tide compared to the low tide as that magnificent fall of water that goes around the wharf there. And then we make our way onto Roebuck Roadhouse and we base ourselves there for our time around Broome. And whilst in Broome, we have a look at Broome and see all the changes that have been done since we were there 21 years ago. You wouldn't recognise the place. We take a trip out to Willie Creek Pearl Farm and we have a tour out there. Such blue water out there, very pretty. And from Willie Creek we go on further north and we go to James Price Point and we have a look at the camping area down there. Something that we're going to camp at, but unfortunately this time it didn't work out, but always next time. Hope you enjoy the video. I'm Mick and this is Sally. Together we've been caravanning Australia since the 1980s, and more recently we started to put the videos together just to show you some of what we see out there. There's a lot to see in Australia and we hope you enjoy what we have here to show you. Joining us on the big lap with their own van are our good friends Michael and Janice. You can follow us on our trips via the following social media platforms. Leaving Fitzroy Crossing just before 9 o'clock in the morning, our destination was a free camp, and that way we were keeping our days short and arriving at the free camp early enough to be sure of getting a spot. With our travelling time today relatively short, we weren't at all surprised to find that when we turned into the free camp, there was already campers set up for the night. G'day everyone, and we are now at the giant Boab tree rest area, here for one night and moving on in the morning. It's only a small campground this one, and we were quite pleased that we made the effort in the morning to get here nice and early. Very big Boab tree this one, lots of tourists pulling up, taking a photo of the tree and the vehicle all in the one frame and then moving on their way. Reasonably early in the day with the camera here on the ground, but when the drone's up in the sky it was a little bit later. You can see the long shadows and there was more vans there ready for the evening. Not the best sunset tonight, but I'm sure if we hang around Western Australia long enough we might eventually see one. The following morning we're on the road again, making our way towards Derby. With the great weather that continued to travel with us, it was a beautiful day to be on the road, and it didn't seem to take very long at all, and we were arriving at Derby. And as we went into the town of Derby, from what we could remember last time when we were up here, the town was much bigger than what we could recall. G'day everyone, and we've made it to Derby and we've checked into the Kimberley entrance caravan park, and we'll be here for one night checking out these tides and off again in the morning. We were very lucky when we arrived at the caravan park to set up. There was no one on the sites behind us, so that allowed us to drive through. Made it very easy rather than trying to reverse on a narrow road. Great couple of little swimming pools here at the park, but too cold for us for a swim whilst we were there. The main reason that we actually came to Derby and to stay the night, the one night that we're staying there, was to have a look at the high tide and the low tide and just compare the two, because it's a great fall in tide in water level. And here we are now at the wharf and that's almost low tide. It's incredible how far it does go out. On the day that we were looking at the wharf here, the difference in the low tide to the high tide was actually 8 metres, and when you think about it, that's a lot of water to move. The day that we were out on the wharf, they were unloading barramundi food from this truck here, and that was used for the barramundi farms in the area. We're unsure how far away the barramundi farms are from the wharf here, but it's got to be close, otherwise they would have unloaded it somewhere else. When Sally and I were up here in 2004, we did see a lower tide than this one today, but unfortunately it's not going out as far. But now, when you look at the jetty, you can see the comparison from the low to the high water. And just picture those pylons that we were looking at earlier on, and you can get some idea of exactly how deep it will be. With the tide coming in so fast, you can see the ripples here in the water. The opportunity to see high tide and low tide in such a place is quite a rewarding experience. Obviously for anyone down south in Australia, you'd never see something like this unless you came up to a location here. While in Derby, we came out and had a look at the prison tree, and when you look at the size around the girth of this tree, it's easily understood why you could see that they'd managed to be able to use it as a retainer for people to hold them overnight during their travels and stop them from escaping. In the same location as the prison tree is a Derby cattle trough, and that is a 120 metre long cattle trough and supposedly able to water 500 cattle at any one time. Now leaving Derby and on the road again, and this time heading for a rest area where it will be another single night stop. As we approach a single lane bridge, we're quite surprised to see these still over here, but a lot of money I suppose to replace them. And the traffic is very good because when we got out on the other side of this one, there was actually two vehicles that, I don't know, they must have realised we were towing, not sure about that, but they were quite eager to pull over and let us go through first. With it only being a short travel day, it was nice and early when we arrived at the rest area, and surprisingly, not very many people here. G'day everyone, and we've made it to our next rest stop, overnight stop. It's only a one-nighter again. I'm not even going to try and pronounce how the parking area is written up and pronounced, but I'll put it up on the screen as usual. And here for one night, moving on again tomorrow. If anyone can inform me as to how to pronounce that rest area name, please do so, because just sometimes you don't want to give it a go because you know you're going to be wrong. A little bit surprising here, the rest area didn't get the overnight campers that I thought we were going to get as far as numbers went. It's a big area and it has got rubbish disposal bins here, as coming in view on the camera now. And to finish our day off, we had a pretty good sunset. On the road again the next morning, and this time we're going to a location that was recommended to us by a number of people, and apparently this one's very popular for when Broome books out, and that was the Robuck Roadhouse. From the rest area the previous night and into the Robuck Roadhouse, it's only a very short drive, and we were soon there and we had time to kill before we could get into the caravan park, but we parked up in plenty of room to park around the side or around the back for that matter, and we pulled up there, went in and had a look at the roadhouse and a few souvenirs, and then we checked into the caravan park. Very popular roadhouse this one, always a big crowd at the Bowsers, and we did notice here that was nothing unusual to see the bowsers being replenished with fuel every second or third day. G'day everyone, we're all set up here at the Robuck Roadhouse Tavern and Caravan Park, here for 5 nights, and that'll allow us to use this area as a base to explore Broome. It'd be your average size caravan park, this one, for a roadhouse. It's not overly big but not overly small at the same time. Lots of trees, and if you're like us and you try and run Starlink, that's always going to be an issue, but we could get by with what little Starlink service we did get. It was the start of July when we were here, and most sites were booked out each night. For those brave enough to go for a cold swim, there is a swimming pool, and that, like all the caravan sites, does get a lot of shade. The grounds around the service station and the caravan park were always kept clean and well maintained, and a very appealing area to visit. On the day that we arrived at the Robuck Roadhouse Caravan Park, we had time to kill in the afternoon, so we thought we'd take a drive into Broome and have a look at the town. After our visit up here in 2004, we sort of, like a lot of people I think, thought that Broome was a bit overrated, and it was a place that you wouldn't really recommend to others to come and visit, but since that time they've done an upgrade to Chinatown, so we heard whilst we were there, but the town presented itself entirely different to what it was when we were here last time, and for me myself, that's certainly changed my opinion of Broome. I'd say to anyone that was up in the area, go and visit it. It's a great place to have a look at. We're now at Streeter's Jetty, and I was hoping whilst we're here that we would see it with nice blue water. It looks very pretty with the blue water, and without the water at the moment as we're looking now, it doesn't really do it justice. We're now making our way down to the town jetty area, and once again, like Chinatown, this has all been done up since we were here last, and it is certainly very easy on the eye. The town beach precinct is a beautiful space to explore, and after the $24 million redevelopment and the opening of the brand new town jetty, it is well worth a visit. I found this to be a rather unusual jetty to look at. We're going down here now. There's a lower platform that takes you down there. There was people down there swimming, people down there fishing. And obviously from the top section there was no one swimming, but people were fishing there as well. But whether it's something to do with the rise and fall of the water, I'm not sure. As you walk out onto the upper main jetty, it's something that you look at and you think, this is a jetty that's going to be around for a long time. We took a drive out to Cable Beach, and it's a beautiful beach to walk on, this one, and whilst there we stayed and watched the sun set over the water. There's currently a lot of redevelopment being done at Cable Beach, and for that reason alone you can no longer at the moment take your vehicle down and drive onto the beach. We did inquire about a camel ride down on Cable Beach, but they were all booked out during the time that we were in Broome, and it's one of those things, we're winging it on this trip, so if we try and make a booking for something and we can't get in, well, that's just too bad. That's part of the winging scenario, I guess, but you take the good with the bad. It was now time to make our way up onto the top lawns and sit down, have fish and chips on the lawn and wait for that setting sun. there was a nice crowd that was starting to build up on the lawn, just waiting for that sun to go down. It makes me wonder if there's more cloud in the sky, what the sunset would have been like. While in the Broome area, we went out and did a day tour of the Willie Creek Pearl Farm, and from there we made our way up to James Price Point and had a look at the camping area there. Making our way to the Willie Creek Pearl Farm first, once we left the bitumen the road wasn't too bad, but then once we reached this swamp area here, there was lots of roads going everywhere, and it was just a matter of taking a road that you thought was going to be the best track, I think, but eventually we got into Willie Creek Pearl Farm. There are basically two options on this Pearl Farm tour. It's a self-drive out and go on the tour from the Willie Creek Pearl Farm area itself, or if you wish you can catch a bus and bus it out to the farm rather than take your own vehicle. For those wishing to purchase a pearl whilst out at Willie Creek Pearl Farm, there is ample selection to choose from. For those who came out to do the tour, they were offered a 15% discount on any purchases made on the day. The entire area, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say, was pretty much immaculately maintained. There was a great number of staff on hand whilst we were out there on this day, and each of those staff were more than willing to make your day as enjoyable as it could possibly be. The water out here is the bluest of blues that we've ever seen. It was an incoming tide at this part of the day, and when we go down here, this is where we will board the vessel to do part of the tour, and it's amazing from where the water level is now to where it'll be when our tour is finished. The boat that we're going on to now, that we're going to do this part of the tour on, is fully electrically driven. It's got solar panels on the top of the roof as well as the underside of the roof, and they tell us that the solar panels on the underside of the roof will actually collect the rays that bounce off the water and go up and hit the panels. The Willie Creek Pearl Farm tour actually starts with the beginning process of how the pearls are first developed, to how they then go out into the water and looked after in the water, and then finally to how they're processed to create such a beautiful pearl. Whilst we're out in the boat moving around on the water, we were actually given a bit of a history lesson on the area, and it was very informative and enjoyable to listen to. Now back on land, we're looking at the steps that we used to board onto the vessel to go out on part of our tour, and here is the footpath that we walked out to those steps that is now covered with water from the rising tide. Once our tour was finished, we started to make our way towards James Price Point, and that was a little over 30 kilometres from Willie Creek. The road at times was very rough, and to bring a caravan up in this area to go camping, you would want to spend a considerable time to make that drive worthwhile. As we drive along the area here at James Price Point, it makes you wonder how much these cliffs would light up during that afternoon golden hour. We have watched many videos of people camping up in this location, and as you drive around the area, you can understand why. With the colour of the water, the blue water, the white sand, the red sand and the green foliage up on top, it certainly all blends in well together. Prior to arriving here on this trip, we had planned on bringing our own caravan out here and spending some nights here camping, but the road that we're about to drive up on now had been washed out, and we're on the understanding that it was still that way, but obviously it's been repaired. We took a quick drive out to the port of Broome, and it was disappointing in one sense that there's that many upgrades being done up there, and I think they're building a new wharf, I'm not sure on that one, that access to pedestrians was restricted everywhere. The colour of the rocks against the blue water, contrasting colours like that just blow my mind, and it's very, very pretty to look at. The camera doesn't do it justice, doesn't bring out the bright colours that were there on the day, but it's something special to see. The Japanese were heavily involved in the pearling industry in Broome, and they have a dedicated Japanese cemetery, and out of that there's 707 graves which contain 919 people, and the headstones here are made of coloured beach rocks. We're going to end the video here, and at this point we'll be moving on the next stop. Will be 80 Mile Beach. Until that video goes up, you take care and look after yourself.